Greetings, Mechwarriors, and welcome to another kind of filler video, I suppose. I got some of the mods working that I didn't have before, and also bought the remaining DLC because it was all on sale at half off in the spring, the Steam Spring sale, so I thought, okay, why not? It didn't seem, looking at the reviews and looking at what was actually in it, didn't seem worth getting full price, but for half price, yeah, okay. Add a few new mechs, add some new bits of some little like handcrafted story campaigns. So yeah, but for full price, it was definitely a bit thin for what they were asking for it. But yeah, the main thing I'm going to be showing off though is the mech lab stuff, I guess, because now that I've got that working, it is a lot like the Rogue Tech mod for BattleTech, where it just gives you a lot more control over how you want to outfit your mech, and it has a lot less restrictions in it as well. But I've also got another mod in the loadout here. I was just browsing through the mods on Steam. This is mostly Steam mods. The only one that I got from Nexus is this mod options one, which is required for some of the other mods to function correctly. But yeah, this one, Cheat Sinks Enhanced. Now, I'm not going to play any campaign stuff with this, but essentially it's a pure cheat mod. It makes the heat sinks give a massive negative mass value and also vastly more to be vastly more efficient as well. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to be very, very silly. We're going to hop into instant action and just play around with a silly version of a mech that I made, because of course, once you have the ability to just have massive negative mass from single heat sinks, it means you can put all kinds of weapon systems on and have all kinds of armor reinforcement that you wouldn't be able to in a remotely sensible version of the game. The reason why I'm doing this is a filler mod, by the way, and I've decided to... I've been kind of not beating around the bush exactly, but I've been sort of glossing over the specific details of what's been going on in my personal life, and it's just it's probably easier all round if instead of like, you know, family health stuff, I actually say what's been happening, just so everyone's on the same page. And I don't know, I'm still not super like wanting to talk about it, but basically, the bare essentials is that my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer late last year. So obviously, that's been a thing. And, you know, it's an ongoing thing and will be an ongoing thing for a little while. So, yeah, hence the sort of even more than usual stop-start nature of videos. I do have a Warships replay that's been recorded. It's a Patreon replay. I've recorded it, and then I haven't actually managed to scrape together the brain cells to sit down and think, okay, what am I going to say about this replay? So instead, I'm just messing around in Mechwarrior. But hey, it shows I'm still alive, right? So this is the like it's basically just setting up a sort of instant match, and you can customize things a fair bit, so we can say who we want to be against. The Von Biomes mod is actually pretty neat. It adds a whole bunch more biomes, so we can pick, I don't know, there's some fairly exotic ones, so that's just like rocks. You've got sort of slightly more deserty, you've got giant crystals, you've got, I don't know what Mackie is supposed to be there, but that looks almost like here, so let's have that one. Map size, I guess we'll leave it medium. Let's, like, I think whoever you choose, it's going to sort of affect what mechs you might be seeing. But let's just pick Comstar, why not? And we'll set the difficulty at, let's say 25 to begin with. Theme any, so that I guess affects the tiles that we'll be putting down. And shall we say it's an assassination, so we have to go and find a particular target. So difficulty, okay, that seems fine. You can actually set it so there's weather conditions as well. So let me show you what I've done. Here's one I've made. No, that's not the one I made earlier. That's an atlas. Okay, well, yeah, you can actually go in and choose all the different mechs, and at the moment they're all showing at significant negative tonnage values because, of course, we've got this cheat sync mod in. So yeah, there's some quite sort of obscure ones, and a lot of the ones are added by mods. There's also variants of ones that are added by mods. And yeah, they all seem pretty high quality in terms of the models, although I've not exactly looked at all of them yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to go for the Irby, and we're going to just take the basic Irby variant. And it may have remembered the setup I did. No, okay, I'm going to have to go through the setup, and as you can see, we can have 2 energy slots on this and 4 ballistic slots. So if we switch to details mode, yeah, there's a bunch more different things. So rather than make you sit through the whole thing, I will do the magic, and we'll cut ahead to the final thing. So here we go, we're done at last. I did try and actually do this before I started recording, but it didn't save it for some reason. But yeah, it's absolute lunacy. It really is. So we have 2 clan heavy lasers on one side and 3 Gatling guns on the other, which are relatively short range but very high DPS. We have jump jets that allow us to get to over 100 meters. We have a bigger engine, which means we can whip along at a speedy 81 km/h, which is around the same speed as most of the faster medium mechs. We have an anti-missile system. We have self-healing armor, and we've got all kinds of fancy like ECM systems and other kind of advanced things going on as well. So basically, this would be utterly impossible in the base game or even with the mods, but using this cheat sync mod, we're able to slap on all kinds of extra ridiculous amounts of armor. So this is a 25 difficulty contract. We'll see how this goes. If it's laughably easy, I'll double it and go to a 50 difficulty contract and see how we go. You will note that you can have up to 3 allies, you can have a full lance, but we're not going to do that because, well, I mean, it's the insane duck, and yeah, look at that, look at those Gatling barrels, that just looks ridiculous. We can't get a full proper outside look at it because it's, as I've noted, it's kind of limited to the rear view, but you can see the barrels there. So like Dakar. The barrels even rotate, that's pretty cool. So we've got the lasers, and as you can see we have barely any heating whatsoever, and we're also moving very, very quickly for an urban mech. It's pretty stupid. I really am curious to see how the self-healing armor system works, by the way. I haven't used that before. So yeah, this is an assassination contract, so in these ones you basically scout out the different locations, and they will be somewhere. Whee! Yeah, that's quite a decent jump for an Irby. If we come down hard on the legs, I'll leave a little bit of jump capability for cushioning the landing, because if you come down hard on the legs, you actually do damage the leg armor. But yeah, so let's Dakar. The YAML mods, by the way, like turrets and ground vehicles, have, I think by default, their health is basically tripled to make them all a little bit more tougher to deal with. This just feels so ridiculously fast for this. What is that? That's a light tank. Actually, the heavy tanks kind of remind me of the Conqueror, I have to say, with the way they've modelled them. I don't know if they're like super well modelled after like in-game lore sources, or if they took some liberties to polish them a bit. There we go, my arm was yellow there, and it heals itself. It's self-healing armour, this is so OP. So yeah, I can basically just get in and circle strafe someone to death, because of course with the duck, I mean, it would be probably if I had a bit of extra speed, but with the duck you have that fully traversing torso anyway, so Yeah, it's just silly. We also have... Good Lord, I hadn't actually calculated how many rounds of MG ammo, because I've probably completely overdone it with the MG ammo, the Gatling ammo, but yeah. It'd be nice if it was... oh, I've just noticed the barrels don't actually fully rotate when they're... Or is it they're supposed to be rotating so fast that you can't see the rotation? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's just, it seems to be the default machine gun sound. I'm a bit disappointed there's no brrrt, because that's kind of almost what we have here. Or maybe that would be more like there's the rotary ACs, the autocannons, like the RAC2 and RAC5. Maybe that's more like a GAU-8. Maybe they have brrrt noises. Right, so we've checked out that one. Let's go and we've already, like, that's our sensor systems have already picked up stuff over there. God, this is very silly. I think we're going to have to take this design and we're going to have to put it in a harder scenario because this is clearly not hard enough. This is just silly.
Looks like we're at the wrong place, Commander. Our target must have given us a slip.
Okay, so it is the final one to the north. There's probably some mechs down there that we could beat up on, but let's just go and do the target and finish the mission, and then we'll do a harder version and see how well the insanity duck actually holds up. God, we can kind of skim the surface a bit with those. I could have put an even bigger engine on and be going super fast, but it gets to the point where it's so fast that it's kind of hard to actually properly control it. And it gets sort of hard to tell where you're going. But I am just not getting any heat at all. We're getting a bit of armor damage here, but yeah. I actually, I started with the installing the mods rather than go on with the career campaign. I just thought, okay, I'll try them out with a just the career mode, like the random career mode. Where you get to choose where you want to start. And yeah, I do have my slightly less ridiculous duck in that with basically a couple of regular machine guns, and even then it's like at the kind of weight class that you want to take that into missions, it's very good at doing this, at legging enemy mechs and just knocking them over. Right, so we killed a guy. We are taking some damage, but oof, just obliterated that Panther in one go. Hello, assassin. Would you like to get dakka-dakkered? Yeah, the lightest mechs, or the lightest weapons, like in terms of damage, tend to have the highest DPS. And actually, in the case of the AC2s, they have very good range as well. So AC2s is a viable choice, but the thing with the AC2 is it fires so fast that you need to carry quite a lot of ammo for it. Whereas the bigger ones, where you're firing less slowly, I mean, you sort of get a higher alpha strike, you get a higher moment-to-moment punch, but you don't have to carry quite so much. Right, so that was a bit silly. We did take some damage, but I mean, some of the armor is orange, but I guess it'll... don't know if it's going to be... like, I don't know what the capacity of this armor is to heal itself. And we did slap on a bunch of essentially applique armor as well, so I don't know if it's that gets damaged. But it's got nearly 800 armor. I don't... like, you'd be having to strip stuff off like the heaviest 100-ton mechs in the game to have that sort of much armor value. It's a bit ridiculous on a mech this small. So let's have the same scenario, but like... what was it, 25? Let's put that then up to 50. This is probably, what, a 200-ton lance?
Heads up, Commander.
250-ton lance. You know, this is sort of the recommended tonnage. We're going in with a single Irby. I might just get my ass kicked, but it's fun to try. It's fun to do the silly things. And I do love when you get mods that intersect like this and just let you build absolutely stupid combos. I can also see the appeal, like if you're going back and you've done through the story campaign, or you just have even done multiple playthroughs and you just want to muck around and do silly things at that point, then absolutely I can see the appeal of something like this heatsink mod and just going all in and being ridiculous. Look at that! Look at that! Actually, there is a way of...
That bounty is as good as ours.
No, that's...
Airstrike support has been granted.
There we go. Yeah, there's some kind of... I struggle to remember, because before when I said there isn't a way to see all around, there kind of is. They put in a sort of dev mode for taking screenshots, but it literally involves having to have a controller handy, which we do here, so... Yeah, it's a little bit silly. Just a little bit silly. In fact, this is possibly even my thumbnail, so... yeah, let's take one of those. But it's a Dakka Duck. It's the maximum Dakka Duck. There we go, screenshot taken. That's, yeah, that's a bit ridiculous. So possibly we should get back in the cockpit now, if I can... There we go. Remember the right key combo. So it's a bit kludgy, it exists. And it does specifically require you having a controller on hand. I think it's specifically an Xbox controller, but yeah, it's nice at least that I have that option of having such a thing. I think it's supposed to, I don't know if they've just kind of fudged it and it's supposed to be that it's sort of firing super fast, but it'd be nice to get more of a sense of the barrels actually, that but faster, as opposed to me repeatedly right-clicking. Pew, pew, pew! Yeah, this is so silly. This is so silly. There's even a mod, and I don't have it installed, but you might have noticed you basically all have the single, the one-tier versions of all weapons. There's a mod that unlocks the all-tier versions of all weapons, but I don't know if that only works with vanilla weapons or if that would work with the ammo as well. But I presume then that would... I mean, it'd be good for testing out builds, which is what this mode is sort of great for anyway. Actually, trying out different combinations and seeing what you want to work without having any cost to it, as it would do in the main game. Yeah, if it just gives you every variant of every weapon at sort of every level, it might get it'd get pretty tedious trying to find the exact level of the one you want. So yeah, this could be even more ridiculous if this was like the S tier versions, because you get sort of literally 0 bars, 5 bars, and then you get a full sort of orange, golden orange bar is kind of like the top version. So I suppose technically there's 7 levels. But the game doesn't quite express it that way. Anyway, let's take any significant damage. That's a pretty decent medium mech right there, the Hunchback. I actually have one of those in the campaign and quite like it. Does pack a pretty decent punch. There's most of the variants have a big auto cannon in that hump, but there are some that replace those with a whole heap of lasers. Right, let's hop over to one of the other sites and see if we can find our target. So there we go, there is a heavy, a Crusader. There's another heavy there, what's that? That is a Griffin. The only thing that would really be sillier is if you could have melee weapons on this. An Irby wielding an axe. I wonder if there's some mod out there that lets you, stick different arms on things, or... I don't know. I did come across a mod that was it had preset Frankenmechs, but I don't think it had a DIY option. Right, so we're just absolutely DPSing the core of that guy. We've got some heavy tanks. See what I mean? They kind of look a little bit Conqueror-ish in the turret, but not really the hull so much. There's an LRM carrier. Carries lots of missiles. Hello, Griffin. I mean, these guys are barely even scratching the paintwork. If I had a bit more speed, I could literally just... Like, I'm not even struggling that hard to stay in their blind arc, and to be honest, with bigger, like, assault mechs, it might not even be an issue. So you know what, we'll double it again. We'll put it at difficulty, like, 100, and possibly I will end the video there, because, yeah, it's gonna be just... I don't know how far I can push this, but also I don't want to just make too much of too much of this nonsense. I think this is probably almost enough of this nonsense as it is. So we are difficulty 100. We're going to be facing assault mechs at this point. I think we're almost like that's got to be max tonnage 400. The heaviest mechs are 100 tons. And there might be in the lore some other mechs that are heavier than 100 tons, but this is like full 400 tonners. Well, we're going in with a single Irby, but it is a rather insane Irby, so there's that. So yeah, we really can't go much higher than this in difficulty, actually. Having warbled on about not wanting to take up too much of people's time with what might feel like filler. It's not like we can go really any higher than this anyway. Like, there's a little bit more that you can crank it up to, but yeah. If we survive this, then the little bit extra probably won't matter all that much. Right, more Order 3, that's one I actually added in. That's a modded one. There's actually a fair few mechs that you can add in that aren't in the base game, aside from the ones that just come in as part of the yet another mech lab suite. There's actually some sort of individual ones as well. But yeah, I don't know enough about the setting to be like, I don't have any sort of personal preferences or whatever outside of the Irby, because the Irby just looks cute, and it's sort of AMX 40-ish. There is actually this the YAML mod actually adds a 70-ton variant. I mean, there's the Irby 2 that you might have noticed, which is the Irby 2 the is that like the clan version? I can't remember. I think there's a clan version, but yeah, there's also like the yeah, that happens to... I have a thing bound to, like, if I wiggle my mouse wheel left or right, it actually is bound to a thing. But the thing also happens to correspond with the hotkey for doing airstrikes, which... You know what, we can do an airstrike, why not? Because airstrikes are a thing. Let's drop a random airstrike on this shack, but that's just going to be an ammo load, so... Yeah. You get to do this sometimes on missions. Just call in an airstrike, which is particularly useful on demolition missions. You get to call in a bit of boom boom. We actually got a little bit too close there. So, yeah. But it's fine, my armor's healing itself. What's this? This is a Griffin. I don't see any assault mechs, but we're sort of getting towards the target, so I'm assuming our assassination target will be an assault mech. This is just ridiculous. You wouldn't think that, like, regular machine guns, you think to yourself, like, that's got to be, even then, that's got to be something heavier than 50 BMG, because, like, you can chew through mech armor with it. And, like, as good as a 50 machine gun is, a 50 cal, that, like, if you were firing at those with the toughest armor of a modern tank, that wouldn't really do anything, right? It would just sort of ping off. You might knock stuff off the outside of the tank, but you're not going to be actually penetrating that armor. So I don't know if these are just like super advanced, hardened, armor-piercing bullets in the Mechwarrior universe, or if it's literally just a gameplay thing of, well, okay, they do low damage, but you know, it's high DPM damage. So if you get to close range, you can dakka. Right, that's an Urban Lord. That is what I was just talking about. It literally just looks like a scaled up Urbie. Let's go and look at it close up. The other one is a King Crab. Now that is an assault mech. So that's a 70 tonner. That's a heavy tank, and yeah, it's a big Urbie. Oh, that's fun when you're looking up. But the King Crab, yeah. King Crab is just, well, we'll get to that in a moment. The King Crab's just a big boy. It's one of the iconic ones. It's also one of the sort of, oh, endgame. Are you punching me? Very rude. The endgame ones you get in BattleTech. The game rather than, yeah, the turn-based game rather than, obviously this is BattleTech setting. So that's a King Crab. Yeah, it's kind of mean looking. Bit of a goofy looking walk though. So if we can, like, we've already taken one of the legs, basically. Should we? That feels a bit cheap. Let's try going for the King Crab's toughest armor. We're just absolutely in the middle of a complete scrum here. We should be getting completely obliterated, but no. Hello, Hunchback. Hello, King Crab. There we go. He's dead. What is that? Is that Blackjack? Is it a Jaeger mech? It's a Jaeger mech. There's a couple. There's the Rifleman, the Jaeger mech, and the Blackjack, which all look kind of similar. I think I've been watching a bunch of lore videos, as you do. If I remember correctly, the Rifleman is like an OG Star League design, or even pre-Star League design. And Jaeger mech is a sort of much later design that was basically trying to do the same thing but ended up sort of doing it worse. Right, this self-healing armor is completely OP. Absolutely completely OP. It is pure clan tech, of course. So I don't know if at what point one will encounter that in the game, but presumably it would have to be at the point in the timeline when the clan invasion actually happens, and I'm a fair ways off that happening as of yet. Anyway, this was very silly, and we could have made this, like, I could have taken a Battlezone contract and seen how many waves I could survive or something like that, but you know, if there's an absolute clamoring, I could do that as a separate video. I didn't even know how this was going to perform, but apparently it performs very, very well. Anyway, so that is the utter insanity that you can achieve if you use that Cheat Sinks mod. And goodness knows how silly you could get with that in a campaign. You could basically run around in a turbo flea. Although, to be fair, you wouldn't get access to, like, all of the absolutely ridiculous clan techs that you obviously get in the instant action mode. But even then, like, you could be a bit nuts. You could be a bit nuts about it. Anyway, so that is it for this video. Yeah, a bit fillery, and if you absolutely want to see me do this again, but with, like, seeing how long I survive in a battle, for instance, with maybe something like a flea, I don't know, a 20-ton light mech that's like the lightest of the light mechs. There's another one as well. What is it? There's another 20-tonner as well, and they're both equally kind of rubbish, but they go fast. So, yeah. Yeah, if there's some demand for that, I might do that, and I will also endeavour to keep getting this one damn warships video done as well, because, yeah, just sitting down and concentrating on everything is proving kind of hard at the moment. So if you enjoyed this, yeah, you can do all these things down underneath the video, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.